Welcome to the Ballroom Dance channel. We are a worldwide community of ballroom dancers who meet here every day to chat all things ballroom dance. Today's hot topic, the problem with ballroom staff. And I'm not talking about the teachers. I'm talking about the support staff, the front desk, managers, etc. I've seen these problems across the country over 40 years, including in my own studio, which was the largest in the country, and I ran that for 15 years. Here goes. Okay, so number one, Gen Z, recent graduates. Okay, first of all, do not accept a position working for me and demand a raise in 2 weeks, especially when you don't even do your job. Related to that, they tend to ditch at the very time you need them. For example, I've got a huge showcase this weekend and they just waltz out. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I got plans. Well, I got plans too, and I pay you to be here. And now how am I going to get all this stuff done in time for the show? Who teaches these kids work ethic? Oh, grant me patience. Okay, number two, dancers. So when I first opened a ballroom, the only front desk staff I ever saw were students at the ballroom. And they worked there in trade. In exchange for working that desk, they would maybe get free floor fees. So that's what I did. The first 2 weeks I opened a ballroom. Yeah, crash and burn. The problem with those existing dancers is they already have teacher preferences. They're going to give preferential booking to their teacher, which is not fair to the entire staff. That's not fair to the students. To ramrod a student in with your teacher when another teacher would actually be a much better complementary asset to that student. Also, they would wander away from the desk and just want to watch or dance in the group classes instead of doing their job. And whenever I had them at the desk, I mean, honestly, guys, I would say 30% of the students didn't pay for their lessons, and there was no record of it because they weren't there to collect the money. Okay, and number three, millennials. Sorry, guys, your social skills, relatively speaking, painting with a broad brush, suck. And I attribute this to growing up on the internet, okay? So refusing to do the parts of your job that you just don't like doing. Then not telling me that you didn't do it. Knitting while you're supposed to be doing work. Playing on the internet. Reading. Doing arts and crafts. Well, guess what? When that student walks in, not only are you not doing your job, but they can see you not doing your work, apparently not caring about your job or them. And I can see it too, and they appear not to care. And millennials, what's the deal with being chronically late? Like, I have classes starting at 8 a.m. I have hordes of people coming in the door. Who's checking these people in? I'm up there holding it together with duct tape and string. Why on earth have I even hired you if you're not there when I need you? Next up, another problem I've personally experienced with millennials is backstabbing their coworkers or the manager. And I boil this down to the communication skills. So they'll be frenemies and babysit their kid after work and yay, we're hanging out at the bar. And then the next minute, well, she's doing this and this and this and this and this wrong. Like, I'm mom and I got to go in now and run interference. Same thing with the managers, just talking smack about the employees instead of actually sitting down and addressing the problem confidentially, respectfully, face to face, using your words, the mouth that the Lord Jesus gave you. Like, be direct. People appreciate that. Not good with conflict management, just good at brown nosing. Another problem I've had with a couple millennials is not prioritizing their job. And that can happen in a number of different ways. For example, I had someone running a business that required them using special software from my computer. So they would, during their paid work time for me, do work for their own company. They would leave in the middle of the day to go market their graphic arts to the companies that were around my ballroom. And I'm like, okay, well, what am I paying you for? So you cannot do your job and do this other job that's clearly much more important to you. They would have meetings constantly in my reception area. And there was one day payroll was due. I don't know how to do payroll. I'm just a dancer. That's why I hire this person. Well, I got to get the payroll into that company by a certain timestamp or no one gets paid in time. And there's a number of things that you really need to do as the owner. And one is pay your people. And she's sitting there talking. This meeting's taking like 2 hours. And I'm like, excuse me, but payroll's due here in 10 minutes. And she's like, shh. And she completely ignored me and kept on with something that had nothing to do with her job during her paid hours. Like, I don't know, call me old school. I would never do that at work. If I had a meeting, I would take time off, or at a minimum, I would say, hey, is it okay if I work with this person during my paid hours here in your reception area in front of the clients and you handle my job? Like, this is cray-cray to me. And I'm super curious, guys, for those of you who have jobs in other industries, have you seen this too, or is this just my experience? Okay, next up, another challenge I've had with people in their 70s and up, which I hire people of all ages, the tech piece. And unfortunately, I need support in that tech area. I myself am of the more mature generation. And so to hire someone, and then I had one gal, wonderful, sweet lady. I felt horrible. I finally had to let her go because she hand wrote everything, couldn't use the computer, couldn't use a register. And then she would hand all of these handwritten notes, very accurate, but to the manager the next day who had to redo all of her work and enter it the next day. And it was just too much labor cost on my other staff who had to compensate for that ability to master the technology portion of the job. And this day and age, there's tech aspects to a ballroom dance job too. Okay, final complaint, and this is the worst. And I've seen it across the country rear its ugly head, and that is rude front desk staff. How does this happen? Well, for example, they have to get the ballroom ready for a group class coming in. And I'm in there teaching a private lesson, and they come in glaring at me. How long until you're done? Well, you know how darn long it's going to be till I'm done because I gave you my schedule. They're turning off my music. They're rolling in furniture and room dividers. I'm like, I am paying for this time, and that class doesn't start for an hour after I'm done. I'm sorry that me spending money to be here is such an inconvenience for you, and it's very disruptive to the lesson, and the student feels like they're a burden on the studio, and that is the last thing we want. We are thankful that you're there. At least we are as the teacher. You're not a pain in our butt. We love having you there. And final thought, hope for the future. I have hired people as temporary coverage out of high school, and those people have actually been great. I don't know what the deal is there, so perhaps there's hope for the next upcoming generation into the workforce. So guys, thanks for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you first thing tomorrow morning for some more things ballroom dance, and I sure hope the staff in your studio are awesome. Most of the staff that I hired absolutely were, and I will appreciate them for the rest of my life for all that amazing work. Okay, guys, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Toodles.